Right, bit of a different view this week, shooting from the other side. We have like sporadic rain showers going over us, so we're trying to figure out angles that keep us underneath the shack or underneath cover at least. Hopefully the roof doesn't get too loud. So we are doing pit beans today, like smoked pit beans. I don't know if I'll call it pork and beans because I think pork and beans is more like if you're doing like rib meat or like a proper pork, like a pork butt shredded down into it. We're just using bacon today to get a little bit of that pork flavour into it. But either way, I think we're going to be good. So we're using my Pitmaster Dutch oven. You can do these, and if you have a big enough skillet to put them into, they'll be fine. The Dutch oven is just a little bit handier for mixing everything around without having to worry about it spilling over the edges. So we need to get this on the preheat. We don't need the lid, it can go somewhere else. Just need the actual Dutch oven itself. So I have the Kamado fired up with the accessory rack sitting in it, so this will just sit on top of the accessory rack. And that gives us access later on to get smoking wood put down in. Okay, while that is coming up to temperature, we can go ahead and get the veggies ready. We have one whole onion and one whole red pepper. We're going to dice up nice and fine, just so they kind of blend into the beans. You don't want them to be too prominent, but you want the flavour from them. Okay, the same with the bell pepper. Okay, we have our Bacon Lardons here as well. I'll leave all the measurements down below for these. So one onion, one pepper, I think it's like a couple 100 grams of Bacon Lardons. So the first part is to get these on and cook the bacon out, soften all the peppers and onions down. Then we'll lift off the Dutch oven and get everything else made up inside it and then put it back on to smoke again. So I'll bring you over to the barbecue so you can see what we're doing. In with just a little touch of oil, then in with our Bacon Lardons. Now we'll give them a few minutes just to start rendering out some of their fat before the veggies go in. We don't want these to cook all the way, but we do want to get some fat into the pan before the vegetables go in to start softening. Okay, the fat's starting to render out of the bacon nicely now. It's starting to go a little bit brown, so this is the point where I get in with those veg. In with the onions, peppers. I have 2 cloves of garlic as well. So all the mix. Okay, we'll let that soften for a couple more minutes and then we'll lift it off and start to get all the ingredients for the rest of the beans in. Right, I'm happy with where the veg are. They're nice and soft. They kind of soaked up a lot of that bacon fat flavour. We'll call it fat flavour. So time to get it off. Shut the barbecue down, just stop temperatures going too crazy on them. Right, at this point there is an absolute list of ingredients to go into this. But the good thing is, it might sound complicated whenever you look at the list of ingredients, there's a lot in it. But the good thing is just chuck them all in and it's done with. There's not a lot you need to do with them. So we'll start off with the actual beans themselves. This is 2 tins of Pinto Beans and 2 tins of Haricot Beans. Really, you can make any mix of beans you want as long as you have that sort of rough, they're like the 400 gram tins. As long as you have that amount, that's fine, everything else will work. These are already pre-cooked, they aren't dry beans either. So 2 tins of each, go straight in. Start in with the sauces. So we have 1/4 cup of mustard with 1 cup of tomato ketchup, aka red sauce. Right, a little bit of sweetness in, about 2/3 of a cup of brown sugar, that's light brown sugar. Right, next up, treacle. With like 2 tablespoons worth. It's almost impossible to measure this stuff. Yeah, apple cider vinegar, about tablespoons worth, a little bit more. Okay, barbecue rub. Let's go with Pitmaster from Smokey Carter. We need about a tablespoon's worth of it. About 500 mils of veg broth. Right, then we have Chipotles in Adobo. I'm going to stick a couple of these in, 2 or 3 maybe. It's 3, and we'll just run the knife through them quickly. And in with them. Alright, we're getting there, I promise. There's only 2 more things left. So we need about 1/4 cup to 1/2 cup of barbecue sauce. So we're using the Smokey Carter Chipotle and Bourbon one. And we already have that Chipotle flavour in there, so. And then lastly, you can use hot sauce, but I want to try a little bit of Scotch Bonnet Chilli Jam in it. We only need maybe a tablespoon, couple of tablespoons. Okay, that's everything. give it all a good mix now. And that is ready to go back on. So we're going to smoke them. These are the kind of thing you would probably have along with something else. So if you're smoking the likes of a pork butt, or if you're smoking anything, brisket, doesn't matter. Make up a batch of these, stick them on the side, and you have the perfect side ready to go along with smoked meats. So let's get them onto the KJ to smoke. Before we put the Dutch oven back on, we're going to throw in a chunk of apple. Give me one of these to smoke. Now we just let them do their thing until they thicken up a little bit. Alright, these have been going for, I'd say probably 40 minutes or so. Kind of just shut them down, let them do their thing. They've reduced down nicely. I'm going to bring you in a bit closer just to show you what I mean by when they're finished or when they're not finished. Really, it is a matter of personal preference. It depends how much sauce you like, but I'll bring you in, I'll show you how I like them, and then you can kind of make a decision from there. Okay, see there's still sauce, it kind of bubbles to the top. And as with most sauce things, you do the kind of drag through test, or at least this is how I do it anyway. So you drag your spoon through it, and you kind of see it fills back in pretty fast, but you can still see the bottom of the Dutch oven before it fills in. It fills in quite slow, and all sauces will thicken up ever so slightly whenever you lift them off. So I think this is the point now where I want to get them off and give them a try. Alright, it's about to rain again. So they're off. Again, they've been sitting for a couple of minutes while I got photos done, and they have thickened up nicely. So bringing them off whenever they just close in, whenever you scrape them through, is just enough. And once you take them off, they kind of hold their consistency. You can kind of pick them up, them all just like flopping off the spoon. I think that's the consistency I like them at. But you do you, bring them off earlier if you want. The fun part, give it a try. Oh, it smells so good. Oh, yes. Brilliant heat from them. Little bits of bacon mixed in there. If you've never tried it, just baked beans with bacon in them is awesome. So this is kind of a whole new level. Yeah, those are really good. I love the level of heat in there. That's exactly what you want, especially with smoky meat, cuts through it well. As always, recipe in the description below, plus I'll leave links to all the Smokey Carter bits and pieces that we used. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next video.